Let's get into the conversation on resilience. As soon as you hear my voice, if you're going to be hearing my voice live or hearing my voice recorded, this is one of those conversations you want to share. This is one of those conversations you want to invite someone who is going through a period, who needs, support, who needs to be fired up, and not just fired up in terms of motivation, but like we always say, in terms of strategy. I'm just going to kick off and expect that others will join us as we're going along. I'm going to start up with a few definitions. Starting off with a few definitions. Now, resilience, according to the American Psychology Association, is the process of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demands. Now, I wanted to pick up some of the key terms that are in this definition. Some of the key terms are the fact that life's experiences are likely to be challenging. Challenging life's experiences or challenges are part of life experiences. It also shows us that there is that element of flexibility, being able to adapt. So resilience is not just about bravado, it is about strategy. It's not about saying we shall make it, we shall make it. It's about being able to adjust to the circumstance in order to keep going when everything is still challenging. Somebody else defined resilience as the capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulties. Great to see you, Abigail. Invite someone to this. It's going to be powerful. Awesome. Great to see you. Resilience is the capacity of a system, individual, for a city, whatever it is, or economy to deal with change and continue to develop. This is from Kenneth Ginsberg. Great to see you, Aidan. Awesome having you here. Share the link, invite someone. So again, we see some key elements that resilience can apply to a particular person. It can apply to a group, an organization, a city, an economy, and it's about how humans and nature can use shock and disturbances like financial crisis, climate change to spur renewal and innovative thinking, which means you are guaranteed to see challenges. You are guaranteed to see things that will oppose your motion. Those systems are in place for reasons, and I will break it down in this conversation. But one of the things that those challenges does is to ignite us. If we have built the capacity to be resilient, is to ignite us, essentially, to ignite us to think differently and to keep going, to think differently, to re-strategize, to restructure what we are doing, and to keep going. Mighty Uche, awesome seeing you. Share the link, invite someone. I'm going to talk about three things. We're still talking about the definition of resilience, the definition, and I'm going to talk about three areas which help. They're not just poetic, right? But they help us get a deeper of the concept. It's the 7 C's of resilience. The 7 C's of resilience. And if you want, you can type it in the chat just as a way of memory, catching it in your memory. Number 1, competence. Number 2, confidence. Number 3, connection. Number 4, character. Number 5, contribution. Number 6, coping. And number 7, control. And these are all from Kenneth Ginsberg. my namesake, right? Competence, confidence, connection, character, contribution, coping, and control. Incidentally, he initially wrote this because he was trying to communicate how we can build resilience for life in our children. And you see, what it tells us is that this issue of resilience is something that we need to build. It's a capacity we need to build for life, not just for business. Even though we have said this is for emerging entrepreneurs, you realize that whether if you're working in an office, if you're trying to go through life, if you're passing through sickness and disease, if there are challenges in your family. Today we had a conversation with someone who needs to address issues with their family. Whatever it is, there's that element of resilience. And when he says competence, it says that first of all we need to have some foundation to rest on. Remember, I said this is not just about bravado. It means there's something we can do. There's a skill we have. There are skills we are learning. There are skills we are honing. There are capabilities we are building in ourselves that will help us navigate through those difficult times. Number 2 is confidence. Confidence in those abilities. There are some people, they are very skilled. They are very competent, but they don't have confidence. They are very competent. They know something, but they don't realize that what they know has sufficient value to see them through. They feel that they still look down upon themselves. So you need competence, but you also need confidence in your competence, even when nobody else has that confidence in you, right? Number 3 is connection. Understand that you are part of a community. In order to be resilient, it's important, and I will repeat this concept many times, to be part of a community that affirms your competence and boosts your confidence. And that is part of what the Strategy Club is for. A community that affirms your competence and boosts your confidence in honing that competence. Make sure you form those connections. Those connections should be in many places. I just gave the Strategy Club as an example. You can have those connections with families, the right kind of friends, the right environment. But I can tell you for free, many workplace environments are too competitive to give you the connection you need to boost or to hone your competence and to boost your confidence. So what happens is you go there, every day you go there, it seems as if there's depression. I'm sorry about the sound. Somebody's moving the gate outside. It seems there's depression because the environment is not allowing you to become more competent or more confident. So the connections you're making there are not as useful. So you need to do something about that. You need to now say, I want to come out of connections, or I want to augment my connections with those that are more helpful to boost my confidence, to help me hone my competence and become a better person. The 4th C of resilience is character. Many times, what resilience demands of us is that we maintain our integrity when things are not going right. For example, you want to make a sale and you add a little bit of lies to it because you are not confident that when you present the real offer, people will like it. So you need to include all sorts of gimmicks, to make sure you're making a sale, because you are not able to, you don't feel that you're able to pass through that period of low sales and come out, to a point where what you're selling is what you're selling. You have compromised on character. Your integrity has been marred, so to speak, and you want to address that. Because for you to last long, character is a capacity you must build. Because once you start treading on the path of lack of integrity, you have to sustain it like that. So if you want to be resilient in reality, right? If you want to really be resilient, what you really want to do is to make sure that you are you are paying attention to character, not just the other elements which are more or less motivational. So very important, character. Number 5, the fifth C, contribution. Now, what it means is that you want to be in a place, you want to be in a place where those connections you've built around you, you should be able to lean on them at times to say, can you make a contribution to my life? Can you help me in this area? I need help here. And you should also be able to say, how can I help you? Because you help each other go through the periods when things are not as rosy as you might want them to be. Right? Number 6, coping. There are techniques you may want to adopt to manage stress, to address difficult tasks. Some of those techniques, we'll talk about them as well. But in summary, you want to find ways of becoming more effective so that you're not burnt out as you are trying to navigate the difficulties of life. Then control. I remember the conversation we had about facing your own reality. There are things that are under your control. There are things that are not. What you want to do in positioning yourself is to make sure that you are taking full responsibility for those things that are under your control, because that is what helps you stay afloat. So the 7 C's of resilience. As I said, it's not just poetic, and it's not just poetic, it's for us to have a deeper understanding of what it means to be resilient. When we started, we defined it. We talked about the fact that what it means is adapting to difficult, challenging life experiences. What it means is being flexible to adjust when you need to meet the demands, the internal and external demands in your space, whether you are running your business or building a career. Thank you. I want to acknowledge those who also joined in. Brago, Stanley, Aidan, always make it a tradition. Say hi in the chats. Share this with someone. Don't consume it alone. This is powerful. I can assure you, it's powerful. Share with someone on your WhatsApp status. Send it to someone's inbox and let them come in. You can listen. We're going to spend a bit of time here. You can listen while doing something else. You can listen while in the kitchen. That's why it's audio. You don't have to show your face. So take advantage of the opportunity. Huda, great to see you. All right. Now, there are other dimensions, types of resilience. Someone classified it as physical, mental, social, and emotional. Sometimes what we need is physical resilience. We need to keep fit because there are certain tasks that make their demands on our bodies. There are certain tasks, there are certain situations that also make demands on our body. For example, illness. We have to navigate through that. So sometimes we have to prepare for it. Prepare for it by taking care of yourself from a health perspective. There's mental resilience. Can you stay focused on a task for a significant amount of time? Can you brainstorm with people? Can you attend the interactive ideation session and make it useful to yourself? Can you develop solutions to issues as they rise? Those are capacities you want to develop in the realm of resilience. Emotional resilience. There will be times when depression will hit you. You see, many of you may not realize I'm melancholic. It hits me a lot. But you see, you overcome some of these things with exposure, with knowledge. Emotional resilience. To overcome depression. To overcome periods when the thing is not working like you think it should. Look, if you allow yourself to sink into emotional depression, it's like a downward spiral. You must take steps to pull out from that. and face the challenge. Because see, there's no way around it. And I'll talk about this in a few minutes. Everybody that I have studied, that you have studied, America, Asia, Africa, who has done something significant, they have to toe this line of being resilient. We also talk about social resilience, being able to support other people and receive support, so that when there are collective challenges, for example, when COVID came, there has to be that kind of an element of social resilience. When people are passed through 9/11, or there's an earthquake somewhere, somehow you need to lean on each other to go through that period of difficulty. All right, so those are 4 types of resilience. I'll describe one more thing about resilience, and then I'll talk about the 6 statements that we're going to address in this conversation. One more thing is the 5 pillars. The 5 pillars which Jenna Aschlager, I think she's German, shared in an article. 5 pillars. Again, if you want to use the chart, you can use the chart. Keep yourself honest or write in your book. Just pay attention, pick the meaning. It's not just the poetry, but the meaning. 5 pillars. Now, number 1, self-awareness. Self-awareness or situational awareness. Self-awareness. Who am I? I did an article which became very popular on my blog about the Joe Harris window model, and it's a tool for evaluating self-awareness or evaluating yourself, being able to say, how do people see me? How do I see myself? What am I not showing to people? You can check it out. Just Google the Joe Harris window model. But more importantly, it's about, like we had that conversation about, facing your reality. Who am I? What can I do? What is my competence? Where do I have strengths? And one of the things we address in Interactive Ideation Session is SWOT. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What is my environment like? Do I live in Nigeria? I can't do anything about the declaration of war, right? But I have to navigate that difficulty. I can't do too much about the economy, but I have to navigate that difficulty somehow. Do I live in Haiti? There's an earthquake in Haiti. And I didn't mean today. I mean, assuming there's an earthquake in Haiti, you have to deal with it, right? It's being self-aware or situationally aware. Every situation is different, but if you get into that quagmire, some people get into that quagmire where they now start saying things like, "Oh, this is always happening to me. Oh, I don't know why this is always happening to me. Oh, I need deliverance. Oh, this." But you see, the truth is that you are the one. You may be the one creating the patterns because you have refused to let go of the previous situation and embrace this new challenge as a new challenge you have to face. But now you begin to repeat to yourself that this thing is always happening. It has come again. Oh, demons have come again. But the truth is that may not be it. Just evaluate the situation on its own merit and ask yourself, what is happening here? What can I do about it? What can I do about it, and what am I going to do about it? Rather than say, oh, this is always happening. Trying to link all the circumstances of life that you've gone through together, which it may not be the case. So situational awareness. Assess the situation on its own merit so that you deal with it and address it by itself without trying to link it to others. Number 2, mindfulness. Mindfulness has, I did a CLP, a leadership program back in, I think it was 2018. That's when it was first called to my attention, the concept of mindfulness. And part of the concept there is, number 1, if you are in a particular environment or doing something, you have to be there. Be there with your mind. If you're in this call, be here with your mind. If you're at work, be there. Don't allow things that are bothering you to overwhelm you so much that you're not able to be effective at what you're doing at this moment. And some people also stretch the meaning to talk about techniques to make sure you are mindful. Sometimes you have to take a break from the task you're doing now so that you refresh and come back and focus on it. You have to do something different if you feel you're being overwhelmed. Maybe read the book, listen to a podcast, get inspired by something, then come back to it. techniques to make sure you stay mindful. Mindful meaning completely focused on the task at hand. As you are here physically, there may be nothing you can do about your brother in Nigeria that is sick, or your sister in Nigeria that is quarreling with her husband. So why not, when it's time to face that issue, go and face that issue. While you are working on the issue you're working on now, stay focused on it. Resilience. That's what we're talking about. For those joining, I appreciate you, and I want to just say, invite someone here. Share this on your status and let people come in. Self-care, important to keep going as much as we can. Some people think self-care always needs money. It's not true. Giving yourself a treat doesn't always need money. You can take a walk to a riverside, take the breeze in and drink pure water, and you'll be refreshed. That may sound funny, but it is true. You don't always have to have money, but you have to be aware that your body needs to be taken care of in order for you to refresh, in order for you to refine yourself and face the challenge and overcome. Then positive relationships, again, connections. This is the fourth pillar. Connections comes into play here. Positive relationships, like what you have now with the strategy club. Do not despise it. Take it as something, a vital part of your growth. Number 5, which is vital, is purpose. Do I know enough about why I exist to stay focused on my journey? Do I know enough about why I exist, particularly God's purpose for my life, to say, despite all these challenges, I am going to go through it, and I'm going to keep going towards my end goal, my vision. That's purpose, a pillar of resilience. If you don't know enough about why you exist, if you've not defined that why, if you've not defined that vision, what will typically happen is that any small thing will shift you and you forget about it. Any small thing. Sometimes that thing is positive. Is maybe you land a jackpot, you just abandon the vision you've been pursuing, or you go into a negative situation and just abandon it because your vision was not clear at the beginning. So 5 pillars of resilience: situational awareness or self-awareness, mindfulness, self-care, positive relationships, purpose. Thank you, Brian, for joining. Share the link, invite someone. So 5 pillars, and I've said it. We've talked about the definition of resilience. We've talked about 7 C's of resilience. We've talked about the types of resilience, and we've talked about 5 pillars. And I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to ask you to think through what you've heard so far. If you have a question, drop it in the chat. Elizabeth will pick it up for me. I want us to also interact, make it useful. But the next section of this is I am going to speak to 6 statements